percentage of breweries are owned by women in the United States? 5?
11.
10%? 40%.
It's 2%.
His face exactly.
Even though white men still dominate the brewing industry, the landscape is actually changing.
Damn it, I want to drink a beer.
But not enough people are talking about it, and that's why I'm here. I think it's time we get a proper education on this magic potion and the people leading the future of it. From beginners to beer aficionados, join me as we fly around the U.S. to learn everything those typical beer bros didn't want you to know about beer. And let me tell you, it's fucking awesome.
I think it's time we put our beer brain to the test. Let's see how much Nashvillians know about beer.
Hi, everybody. It's Caroline with Bitch Beer. I'm here in Nashville asking people on the street their beer knowledge. So I'm going to ask y'all a couple of questions about craft beer, and it's okay if you're making guesses.
Okay. Oh, gosh. I'm going to do terrible.
No. Okay. Name 3 styles of beer.
Well, I'm going to go with craft.
Light.
Is draft one?
Dark.
Bottled and canned. Pilsner. Ale. A stout.
IPA.
Lager.
Oh, very good. Awesome.
An ale.
Mm-hmm.
What are you reading out lager? I don't know. I'm done.
Okay. Good attempt. Name 1 major component in making beer.
I want to say wheat. Yeast. Fermenting.
Temperature.
Water.
Bubbles.
Bubbles, okay. Okay, the carbonation phase?
Yes.
Okay, cool. I like that.
That's proper term for it.
Good enough. So hops are a main component in beer, and there's thousands of different varietals. I'm gonna name 5 hops, and you're gonna tell me which one is not a hop. Pacifica, Super Alpha, Mosaic, Citra, or Calypso.
Mosaic.
Yeah, I'm also going for Mosaic.
Super Alpha. No. I think it's Mosaic. Mosaic? Calypso.
Okay. It was actually a trick question. They're all hops. Hi everyone, we are in front of Jackalope Brewing. We are about to go on a really fun tour. We're gonna walk through their brew house. We're gonna get to see their kegs, their canning line. It's gonna be a great time. So let's check it out. At the heart of every delicious craft beer is the intricate brewing process. Let's break it down. It all starts with malted barley, the backbone of beer. This grain is carefully selected and malted to provide the sugars needed for fermentation. Next, we add hops, which contribute to the aroma and flavor profiles of the beer. It's like adding spices to a recipe. Once the ingredients are combined, the magic happens in the fermenting tank. Yeast, the unsung hero of brewing, converts those sugars into alcohol and carbon dioxide. After fermentation, the beer is conditioned and carbonated before being packaged and sent out into the world. And there you have it. The process of brewing is now demystified. You can't go to Nashville without visiting the legendary Jackalope Brewing. It is the first woman-owned brewery in the state of Tennessee, and they are known for their inventive takes on classic styles of beer. And I got the chance to sit down with the owner, the beer baddie herself, Bailey Spalding.
Oh my
Thanks,
gosh,
Lisa.
thank you, Lisa. Cheers, Bailey. Oh my gosh. Take another sip, this is delicious. How did you get involved in the craft beer industry?
I'm from Vermont, where there's a very rich craft beer culture historically. And I moved to Nashville to go to law school. I went to Vanderbilt Law School. And during law school, I started homebrewing and had a science background before law school.
Cool.
And so just was like, oh, this is a science experiment, and there's beer at the end of it.
Cool, so how did it go from home brewing to opening up your own brewery?
I mean, I really just kind of thought about it a lot, and Yazoo, they opened in 2003. They were the only other distributing craft brewery in town. 0 other breweries opened in Nashville till we opened in 2011.
Wow.
And we have kind of all the key factors, like a really locally focused, like creative town. All the things that go into a really great beer place. Again, Nashville was primed for it. We haven't had some not very friendly laws for beer in Tennessee, which is probably part of why it was a little behind on getting kind of the craft beer revolution going here.
What were some of those laws that were holding back craft beer in Tennessee?
Sure, yeah, there are 2 main ones. We have the highest taxed beer in the country in the state of Tennessee.
Shit, I didn't realize that. Oh my gosh.
A 17, it was a 17% wholesale tax. And it was based on how expensive your beer was. So craft breweries had most of the burden of that because our beer was more expensive than a mass-produced brewery. And so now it's still the highest tax beer in the country, but it's volume-based rather than a percentage.
Okay.
So ours went down a little bit, theirs went up a little bit, but it all has stayed steady since 2012. We got that through.
That's right. Now, according to Title 57, Chapter 6 of the Tennessee State Code, this tax on the sale of beer is $35.60 per barrel of 31 gallons sold.
And then the other thing was until 2017, we could only brew up to 6.2% ABV beer.
No way.
Yeah. And
no.
Yeah, so we couldn't brew like, a lot of, proper IPAs.
Yeah,
or
they start at
styles.
like 7%.
Yeah, a lot of styles were off limits. Now we can brew up to 10.1. So most styles are within that. Almost everything you want to do, you can do here now.
So how has the industry changed since you all got here?
I'd say at least 30 more breweries have opened in the kind of middle Tennessee area since then. So it's been fun. It's great. It's like we've got a good community, and everyone does really get along, and like it's a fun group to be a part of.
That's what I love about the craft beer industry. Everybody has like their neighborhood, like brewery that they like to represent. That's really cool.
Exactly, yeah, and everyone's got their own perspective and creative side that they're bringing.
So what are your favorite beers to brew?
We did one, I loved one that we did called Foxy Falcon. Our kind of spring and summer super seasonal, it's called Lovebird, and it's a wheat beer with strawberries and raspberries. We've done a bunch of different plays off of it. So for Foxy Falcon, we just did like triple the raspberries, and then we did a secondary fermentation with Brett with all those raspberries.
You heard it right. Brett, not bread. B-R-E-T-T, short for say it please.
Brettanomyces.
Thank you. Is a type of yeast that can be used to ferment beer. Unlike the typical yeasts used in beer making, Brett is a little bit wild and can be responsible for some funky flavors.
Yeah, so Brettanomyces is a different type of yeast than the standard beer yeast. Like when people talk about it being funky or something like that, a lot of times there's a Brettanomyces component to that. I also, in the winter, we have a kind of super seasonal stout called Snowman, and it is brewed with locally roasted coffee beans and cocoa nibs. So the brew house just smells really good when we're brewing that beer.
That sounds
It's very cozy.
incredible.
Yeah, it's fun. I think we have a good mix of beers that, used to be home brews. Bear Walker was the first recipe I ever wrote,
This is
what
so
became Bear Walker.
good.
Thank you. And then also, new things that we've never done before. So it's fun to kind of mix it up.
What does the landscape look like here in Nashville for women in beer and just the diversity?
In starting the brewery, we weren't like, oh, we're gonna be like a woman brewery.
Right.
But I do think, particularly in the beginning, when you look at the people who come drink in our tap room, it might be a slightly different demographic than the average craft brewery, because it can be a little bit uncomfortable, especially a few years ago, being a woman who's interested in craft beer, but maybe you don't know about it that much. And again, wanting our space to be really friendly and welcoming, and not feel like if you're not already a craft beer aficionado, that like you can't come and enjoy yourself and learn about beer. Yeah, I think that's why people like craft beer, is that they feel like they're a part of something bigger than just what they're drinking. They can really get to know the people behind it and the community aspect of what we do.
Thank you so much for having us. This has been an awesome experience.
Thank you so much for
I'm so
coming.
happy to meet
It's
you.
great. You too. Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Yay.
Jackalope has been a blast, but we've got to jet to our next date at Crazy Gnome Brewery. Get ready to vibe with some seriously cool chicks, y'all.
So I'm so excited to finally meet y'all.
We're glad to be here.
Yeah.
I'm the creator of the Black Beer Experience. I started it because I was looking for community. Honestly, I was looking for a space to drink with people that look like me, that have similar experience as me. It didn't exist here in Nashville, and so my wife said, create it, and like, here we are. I've been in it, I love it. I'm an IPA addict, like that's where I like to, that's my drink of choice. But I just love the beer industry and the people in it. It's so welcoming and friendly.
I love craft beer. I've loved craft beer for, years. And it started out going to a bar that had over 30 beers on tap. Wow. And on certain nights, they were $2 a beer. So
nice. I like
that. Really do it.
Right. It gives you a chance to try different things that you wouldn't normally try.
My first beer was a natural light, and I said, I don't think beer's for me.
We've been there.
I was like, oh, let's see it. And then a couple years ago, I was really looking for community, especially with people that looked like me. With their help, I've gotten more into craft beers. But I will say, Shani, she has never met a stranger, which is great for this environment because everyone just wants to hang out with Shani.
Yeah. When you started Black Beer Experience, what made you want to get it going?
You couldn't purchase beer from the breweries, but you could get a tour.
She's not kidding. For example, in the state of Georgia, it was only until Senate Bill 85 passed that Georgia's state code was amended to allow for breweries to sell beer at the brewery.
And so we travel to different breweries in different states, cities, countries, wherever we are. But then we looked at each other and was like, I think we know the process for making beer now.
Yeah.
And we just want to drink the beer. And we didn't know that the laws were changing at that time, but we were able to buy beer from the brewery at this point. So that's what we started doing. But one thing I noticed was that there were only a few of us in there, if any, of course. So I had great conversations with people at the brewery, but I turned to my wife and I was like, I would like this. I would like, being able to talk to folks. And so, that's how we got here.
With this group and going into different breweries, what sort of impact do you feel like you've had on the beer community here in Nashville?
I've helped connect the breweries to the Black community, like when the Black is Beautiful beer released. I connected with, a couple different nonprofits that people didn't know about, but these are nonprofits that are integral to the Black community and very important for us. And then when you're doing the work, for the community, it's great to be supported by that community.
I think it's also been helpful. The Black Beer Experience has been helpful in showing breweries and brewery owners that Black people drink beer. Like to have, so sometimes, right. Sometimes there's sometimes there's 4 of us, sometimes there's 12 of us. And so when there's a large group of Black people coming into the brewery, kind of staking our claim in the craft beer industry, it's very helpful for them to see that, so that we can affect the change that needs to happen.
Because I know when I first started getting into craft beer, it's intimidating. Like you walk into a brewery and you kind of feel like I always felt like I wasn't part of the cool kids club.
There are a lot of people who are interested in beer, but are intimidated because you go into a space that's very white, it's very male dominated. BBE, as we like to call it for short, is very much a woman's space. Not on purpose. Guys typically can go together. Yeah, I can go grab a beer, and it's more like accepted.
Right.
But a lot of times when women want to have a beer, their friends are like, well, I only do cocktails, I only drink wine. It's like, damn it, I want to drink a beer.
Yeah.
So you found a space where people are able to do that. Now, we still enjoy our cocktails and wine, and beer is how we came together.
If you were to do like a collaboration beer, like what sort of beer would you want to do?
Yeah, so it was for Black History Month.
Oh, cool.
So what I did was I like to try to include the community, because BBE, while I started it, it's not just me, it's a community. We chose the name via voting, and it was Rainbow Coalition is is the name that won it. It's a juicy IPA, and it was actually Crazy Gnome's first IPA. We got in there, we were able to sit down and talk about the hops that we were using.
Okay, we have not gone over this. Hops are the green cone-shaped flowers, and inside each cone are these tiny little glands called lupulin, the source of bitterness, aroma, and flavor in your beer.
And just kind of explore the potential opportunities for our beer.
So what do you see happening moving forward with the Black Beer experience?
So here's the thing. I feel like we need to bring beer out of the brewery, just because like Black people don't necessarily see this as a space to go to. Even though we drink and consume a lot of alcohol, it's not necessarily done in the brewery. And so I feel like we need to go into the community. So that's where I see it moving forward. And of course, still continuing the community and creating space for people.
Well, thank you so much for letting me crash your beer drinking session. It was great. Awesome. Cheers. Cheers.
Our last stop is someone who is very special and impactful in the brewing community. Get ready to meet the legendary Dr. J of the Brewers Association and Crafted for All.
Well, I am so excited to see you, Dr. J. You are one of my favorite people in the industry. I'm just so happy you're here. Thank you for being here.
Of course, it's amazing to see you.
So talk to us about yourself and talk to us about what you do in craft beer.
I like to summarize by saying I make opportunities for anyone who wants them, and I focus particularly on people who have been historically marginalized or come from underrepresented groups.
So being in craft beer, what prompted you to go into the direction of diversity, equity, and inclusion?
So I was working on my PhD starting in like 2007, 2008 down in North Carolina at the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill. And I made the decision to do my dissertation about the craft brewing industry. It was about 2008, financial crisis, right? And I was looking at craft beer and I was like, this is an industry that is exploding. People are buying more beer, volumes are going up, and they're paying more for it. And arguably, at the time, one of the worst economic downturns since the Depression. And so I was like, what is happening? What is happening in this crazy space that I love? So it wasn't just supply demand.
Right.
There were other things that people were caring about that were fundamentally cultural. And those were things that were generating value. One of the cultural dynamics that I really was looking at was identity. How do they make it a part of their identity? All these dudes that look like lumberjacks are like showing up and they're like, this is me, this is my space. How is this working that like I can come here and see me?
Right.
And feel that this is for me,
right?
And so can someone else. But at this very same time, like my love and my passion was absolutely coupled with the recognition that I was the only one that looked like me in most of the spaces I went. I don't like that.
Yeah.
I just don't like that. I want people to experience what I am experiencing. And I've always worked in issues of social justice and power. And I was like, I think I can bring this to beer.
It is so incredible and so impressive of how much of your life that you dedicate to helping other people, providing opportunities. Talk to us about Crafted for All.
I always tell people it's a little bit of an accident. So in 2018, I started working with the Brewers Association as a part-time consultant. And so in that role, I was doing a lot of speaking, going to state guilds and talking to a lot of brewers about working on diversity, equity, and inclusion. A lot of folks who saw me talk in those places were like, could you work with us directly? So started up Crafted for All as like a consulting side hustle. And in 2020, I made the decision to leave higher education and work in the beer space full time.
Nice.
And at that time, Crafted for All kind of grew and flourished. So a lot of what we do is resource provision. So We help people by providing the tools that they can then use to affect change in their businesses. And we do a little bit of direct training as well.
So you go into a brewery and they've hired you to consult with them. What does that look like when you get there? What are you looking for and what do you hope to improve when you get there?
So a lot of times you might have, let's say, one beer tender who's like awesome.
Yeah.
They make everybody feel at home.
Right.
They're the type of person who can have a conversation with anyone. Maybe they help make your tap room an incredibly warm, welcoming, inclusive space. What happens when they leave?
Ooh,
right.
Yeah.
So what you need to do is like, what are the things? What are the systems? What are the procedures? What is that person doing?
Right.
We write an SOP and we use it to train everybody else.
How have you seen craft beer evolving over the years as you've been involved in it?
It's so interesting because I think I talk to a lot of people who, they take a little bit of a short timeline and they look at maybe the last 3 years, the last 5 years, and they say, there's all these conversations about diversity, about inclusion, about equity. Nothing's changing. And I always just have to laugh because I like to use the metaphor of a building. Before you put a house, together or a building, you have to build a foundation.
Right.
There has to be infrastructure that has to be built. And then you can put a house and then it's gonna be pretty and there's gonna be rooms and there's gonna be all the roof lines and all this stuff.
Cool.
So maybe we don't have a house yet, but the infrastructure has gone in. And to me, you might have the most beautiful house in the world, but if the toilets don't flush, nobody wants to come in that house, right? So infrastructure has to be there first. I have a lot of faith, especially with the momentum that we're building, that we're gonna get there.
What's up, everybody? We are here at the best showdown in all of Nashville. We are here at the 5 spot for the Brewers Arm Wrestling Showdown. We are so excited. It is the best night. There's tons of characters and it's all Brewers. We can't wait. You're gonna love it. Let's go.
Looking for a good time and then some. Kick it with my friends in the hot sand. I got a song blasting by the Zach Brown band, yeah. I got a case of cold beer. Ain't gonna last long here. I'll pick my friends up at the pier. They're all like kicking it high, kicking it low, making noise like a big truck show. Raising hell is the way to go. Yeah, we're kicking it fast, kicking it slow, bouncing around like a rodeo. Bad girls wanna rock and roll. Yeah, we're kicking it.
You heard it. It's not just a hope or a dream. It takes action. And people like Dr. J, Bailey Spalding, and the members of the Black Beer Experience are putting those changes into action. If you're like me and you love beer, let this show you that people are creating spaces for everyone to belong. Nashville, we've learned so much from you and had some bodacious beers, but I think it's time for us to move on. Oh, before I forget, get the fuck out of here. Go down the street, try a new brew, and tell me your thoughts. Seriously, no opinion is wrong, and your taste buds change every 7 years anyway, so fuck it. Sip it, gulp it, chug it, and catch us next time. See you later, bitches.